I'm going to show you it.
What's in our comic book?
Similar, yeah.
Okay, you don't need to tell me. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's like kind of handwritten, but like kind of not. It's just not like it's made fun of a lot in the design world because it's of how it is, and people who don't know.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and I'll keep monitoring the waiting room to see if anybody else joins us. So welcome to today's Lunch and Learn, sharing your voice on social media with Promote Local. My name is Tracy Philippi. I'm the Library Programming and Outreach Specialist for the Village of Cottage Grove. So before I introduce today's presenters, I just want to invite everybody on this call, if you're not already doing so, to follow the Village of Cottage Grove Library Programming Facebook page. We're hoping to increase our following there because it's really the best place to reach residents, and we're going to learn a lot from today's presenters as well. I'd also like to thank our in-kind sponsors, the Friends of the Cottage Grove Library, for partnering with us on today's program. So with that, I will introduce today's speakers from Promote Local, Madison's premier digital marketing agency. So first, on your right is Michelle Roach. She is the CEO of Promote Local. She thrives in situations where she has to overcome adversity, like when she's the youngest person or the only female in the room. She loves music, tennis, travel, and bowling. I didn't know that about you, Michelle. Very cool.
I just had the women's state bowling tournament this last weekend, so.
Congratulations. And then on your left is Alonna Heller. She is the content specialist for Promote Local. She does all things social media strategy and content creation. Outside of the office, she loves adventuring in the woods, enjoying a good book over coffee. You and me both, Alonna. Thank you. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Michelle and Alonna.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the presentation today. We are going to get into sharing your voice on social media, and we're keeping it, pretty high level to begin with, but what we thought would be helpful is that if we went around the room and engaged with each one of you and did introductions so that we know where you're coming from. If you're an individual trying to learn more about social media, if you own a business, if you're a part of a membership organization or a nonprofit, that would be helpful for us to know. So if we want to get started, I can just call on people if that's okay. And Kathleen, you'll be first because you're the brave one on video. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Well, my husband just told me about a half hour ago that I don't have to have the video on. So I guess I decided to leave it on, and I hope other people do so I can see who's here. My name is Kathy. I had to register as Kathleen, but I have an art business, which is called Kathy S Artistry. And I've been in the arts and crafts business, if you can call it that, for many, many years, maybe 20, 25 years. But I really am trying to actually make some money now. So I've been in a position where it wasn't really necessary. It was just more of a hobby. But I think there are good opportunities out there, and I really don't know what I'm doing, out in social media. I check Facebook maybe every 3 or 4 days. I do get notifications when something comes in, but I just don't spend a whole lot of time out there.
Sure. Well, we will help you get situated online a little bit more, hopefully, after this presentation. So thank you for introducing Kathy. Dawn?
Hi, I'm Dawn Martinez. I run a travel business called This Is How You Disney. So my focus is Disney travel, also Universal. And I have an Instagram page and I run 2 Facebook groups. So those are my kind of primary markets. And I just in the last week turned this into my full-time job. So I've been doing this kind of as a side hustle and I'm doing it full-time. So I'm really
Congratulations. That's
thank
really
you.
fun.
Thanks. So I'm really trying to kind of start over and really push my social media channels to kind of get more business in. And so this was perfect timing. Thanks for putting this together.
Awesome. Jacqueline, You are next on our screen, and your kitty friend.
Yes, he always likes to be on my lap. If he's awake, he's on my lap. This is Jammer, by the way. I'm Jacqueline. So I have a life coaching business, and one of the things that I've really struggled with is figuring out how to do social media, how to, get clients and network and things like that. Networking isn't necessarily my strength. I'm an introvert. So figuring out how to do that and promote my business, promote myself in that way. And figure out, maybe other ways than just writing articles that I don't necessarily want to do constantly. That isn't the main way that I'd like to get people, although I love doing that, but it's not necessarily a pattern of, it's this time this week or things like that. It kind of is more sporadic. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then really, just looking on how I can increase clientele and reach some people and use social media the best I can.
Awesome. Pamela is next.
Hi, my name is Pam. Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
I'm Pam. I work in the cosmetology industry. I have a couple of businesses that I help promote on the side through social media. So I do a lot of their postings. And then I also have a side hustle myself. So I sell jewelry online. And so I'm kind of just trying to expand my knowledge and hear what is coming up and new and the different ways to get yourself out there. So
Awesome. Welcome, Pam. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Amanda. I have a business called Pine Size Parties where I specialize in balloon decor and children's events. I use social media a lot. I am pretty active on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm trying to be better about having useful content and trying to figure out how to get viewers turned into customers. So I have not like a huge following, but I have some followers, but I want to turn those followers into customers. So that's why I've joined.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks for sharing. Let's go Kelsey next, please. I think she said that she's in her day job.
Yes, Kelsey and Chapin Memorial Library are unable to this week.
Okay, well then, Carl, it's your time to shine.
Hi, I'm Carl Reineman. I'm Pam's husband, actually. Two different businesses. I am the director of Trinity Pines Retirement Center in Lake Mills, and I also run some websites and social media sites with a few thousand members on those. So I'm looking to expand those.
Awesome. Welcome, Carl. Thanks for bringing him along. I don't know which way it went, who invited who, but we're happy
He's
you're
the
both
boss.
here. Awesome. Eric.
My name is Eric. I'm chief of EMS for Deer Grove EMS. We use social marketing as a tool to kind of tell the community about us and our services. I actually have people that run that page for me, and I'm maybe not the most tech savvy. So two things would be to learn how to be a little bit more promotional savvy for the department, and maybe a method to reach those that might not be using technology, how we get our message out with technology, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. And Heather is last.
Hi, I'm Heather North, even though my name is always spelled wrong on Zoom. I own Northern Compass Boutique over in Stoughton, and I had been online for 5 years and just opened a storefront in October. And so I also just made my job, this used to be a side hustle, into a full-time position. And I have a pretty extensive background in social media, but I'm always interested in seeing who's, got a different perspective and a different avenue that I can take to kind of obviously cultivate some new shoppers.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, that's very helpful. It does seem like we've got everybody's here for a business. A lot of people are here for their own business, and some are supporting others. So I think we've got a lot of good content for this demographic. So with without further ado, we're going to share our screen. Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
Great. And then we're gonna start the slideshow so it's nice and big for you. Alana, I'm gonna stop talking and let you do some talking now.
Sure, yeah. So as you all know, we're sharing our voices on social media. I think that Michelle and I both would agree that anytime we've got specific spots for questions, but if you come up with a question while we're talking about something, don't hesitate to either raise your hand on your camera or raise your hand on the little icon. Either way is great. So next slide, what are we clicking there? All right, so we got a little bit of an agenda here. So we just did our introductions. We'll introduce ourselves a little bit next too, but we'll do the difference between branding and your voice and how they work together, show you a few business and personal examples of that space for questions, talk about what is your mission, what is your message, which platforms are right for you or which platform singular is right for you, because sometimes not being on a whole bunch is better. And then talking about who your target market is, show you a few examples of that, and then some homework that we're going to give you to take home with you today to work on. So starting with me, my name's Alonna, as Tracy said. I'm a graphic designer and social media expert is what we're, call ourselves, right?
Claim the authority.
Yes. So for Promote Local, I do all of the social media for their clients, have my own business, Heller Creative, where I work with some other businesses. And then my personal brand, Wisconsin Girlies, is a travel brand where we talk about cool things to do in Wisconsin and connect our community through meetups and fun happenings. So that's me.
And I am Michelle. I started Promote Local 7 years ago. I also run a sales arm of a company called Heartland, and they sell payment technology and payroll. I like to think maybe I'm a business branding expert by now. It's always up for debate. Things are evolving every day, and different markets require different things. But that's where I really shine, I think, a little different way than Alana does, in more of that personal branding sense. I really like to bring a lot of strategy behind what we're doing across digital media channels, because usually with Promote Local's clients, we're not only focused on their voice on social media, but the bigger picture. So I always like to bring that back, as we're going to talk about this focus channel today, but really without that foundation of the big picture, what's happening on social media may or may not be as effective as you'd like. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And then LinkedIn, and I don't know if anybody in this audience, if it's a perfect match. Honestly, maybe Eric and Carl might be folks that I'm thinking when I wrote down all my notes. Well, even Dawn actually, you guys might have an opportunity there. So we will probably have time to get into that as well as some other channels here in a minute. And so, we wanted to start with some just like a 101, like branding, and then how that translates into a voice. So a big picture again. A lot of times, people have a business, especially when they're just starting a business. You're usually the maker, right? Like you're creating the thing, you're busy making the jewelry, or making the art, or getting really deep into the travel organization, like the logistical parts of what that takes, or getting stuck in the operations, Carl, of being with the in the retirement home. So you're not always we sometimes, all of us, I did this when I first started Promote Local, you're just doing the work, right? You don't actually take time to work on the business and take a step back and say, well, I know who I am, and so how do I take my personality that's like maybe my brand now, because I just talk to people and then I do work for them, or I provide them a service, and really take it a step back and make it a brand, a business brand, and something that people can recognize, and it's sort of the characteristics that you will be perceived by in a larger setting. So they're not just thinking about you, the person, as the business brand, they're thinking of the brand altogether. What feelings are what feelings are your products or services, or the experience that you create for your customers? What is that like? And how can you be sure that the brand, that brand perception is coming through in your voice? voice. So then your voice is, is the tone that you're using to speak and represent your brand and speak to your audience, your target audience, and that represents your values. And you can create, more of that business persona, and that might look differently depending on your brand, right? So we have, authoritative, if you want to be a thought leader in a certain niche, or you want to keep more of a playful, fun, attractive way to bring people in intellectual, whatever it is, you want to think through that and make sure it's coming through in your voice. So that was just kind of a high level. Don't forget to start a couple steps back sometimes before you jump in, because we're all so used to, as entrepreneurs, just getting to work. But sometimes that pre-work can really make a big difference.
Okay, now we're going to show you a few examples. We'll talk about me first and my personal brand of Wisconsin Girlies, or on TikTok, Heller Creative. It's kind of intertwined, but a little bit different. So like I said before, we do Wisconsin-based travel, connecting our community and showing you cool places to visit. So right now we have 13.9K followers. We make videos about all different kinds of places. They are themed as Wisconsin Girlies places you need to visit, or Wisconsin date night places you need to visit. That branding aspect that Michelle was talking about is in almost every video. It starts with Wisconsin Girlies places you need to visit, right? So it looks the same. The words are the same. It's the same message, so that when you're just scrolling through an endless loop, say you follow me, but you don't see my content all the time. When you see Wisconsin Girlies places you need to visit, you're like, oh, that's Alonna. I know that I like her videos. I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch it. So by doing that brand work in the beginning and keeping it consistent, you can retain the followers and the watchers.
And I think it makes the voice easier to like figure out what to say each time if you give yourselves a little bit more of those rails, right? To always fall within and make some things no brainer, so that you can just be thinking about the creative piece of what you're going to publish on a social media channel.
And I think also, like with the branding, something that we haven't talked about yet is the visual aspects of your brand, which also makes it easier when you're not like, oh, I'm going to sit down to design this post on Canva and I could select any of the millions of templates that there are, right? If you're like, these are my colors, this is my logo, and this is the font that I use, it's going to make making your graphics and your images way easier, because you're not going to be overwhelmed by which decision do I make.
Definitely.
Okay, so business example as far as a Facebook group. So we've got Wisconsin Girls Community. Any of you ladies are welcome to join. Sorry, Carl, you're not welcome, but maybe next year there'll be a Wisconsin men group. So we are a genuine place for women to make connections. It's sort of like networking, but without the pressure of selling yourself or selling your business or selling your product. More just you're looking for genuine friends. So that all started at the end of COVID. I was like, man, I need friends, because I graduated from college in the middle of the pandemic, and it's hard to make friends as an adult. It's really hard to make friends when it's COVID times. So I made this thing and I was like, well, nobody's going to join it. The next day there were 500 members, and I was like, okay, holy cows. Then the next, 2 days later there was 1,000, and I was like, so it just kind of grew. And I think that can show that same aspect, which we'll talk about later, like something that you're passionate about can translate into your business even more so than if it was just something that you were doing to make money, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think the group, the screen check here shows the same things that we're talking about, right? You're all learning in meeting Alonna and learning about her personality. She's just like naturally very bubbly and exciting and fun, and this logo, represents that here in this community. And she even put 3 keywords here that accompany that visual brand, which are support, empower, and connect. And that's what it's about. So if you can also break down what that brand is and what and into a couple keywords, then that voice, those are the things that you can always reference back to when you're thinking about how you're sharing your voice online. So another just little key way to keep you on brand yourself or within the confines, because sometimes we have a million great ideas and we don't know which way to go, and we test too many things, and then that consistency falls to the wayside. So another kind of thoughtful reminder of how that's represented here.
And then next, we have another business example, Instagram. So shows you how many followers we've got. Creative solutions for a small business. 6.3K accounts reached in the last 30 days. That's not a ton, right? But it's enough. On Instagram, the biggest thing right now is they're pushing towards video, which I think everybody is kind of like having shoved down their throats, whether they like it or not. So adapting ways to do that for your business is important. Whether that is just a clip of, you know, Disney for you, Dawn. You don't necessarily have to be out there saying, "Hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my Instagram." If you can and you want to and you feel confident in that, it's going to take the next step of success, right? But it's not always necessary if you're not comfortable to do that right now. So.
And I think too, for those of you who have products that you're selling, you could even do, you know, photos of those, but then make them a slideshow, right? So that they're moving pictures, because that's a video.
Right.
And so that's going to perform better across channels right now, frankly, than if you just created a photo album. Doing both is also great, because then that album's there for them to reference and they can see all of your products in one place. You could add some links back to how to click them through to get them to a buy site or something like that. If it's, you know, different trips and destinations for Dawn, you could have something like that, but representing it in moving pictures or a moving frame is always going to be helpful. I think, you know, for Eric with the Deer Grove EMS, it's a day in the life. I'm thinking of, and not forgetting what we talked about in Alana's example with TikTok, where she's pushing a brand and a message at the front of the video each time. So it's, you know, it could be a day in the life with Deer Grove EMS every time, a day in the life, you know, a day in the life, a day in the life. That's just one idea. But you could, you know, you could find what those things are, and then that could guide how you get things published and what video you take or what things you showcase, and it'll get people interested and kind of help them put themselves in your shoes. So with more of that experience, or if you're trying to show the value of a service, I think that part's really important.
Yes, the other key Instagram feature that if you're not using, you should consider is Instagram stories. Also Facebook stories, but really Instagram, it's one of the biggest clicks, because if you aren't familiar, on the Instagram app, the stories come up at the top. So people are more likely, if they see your little name and your icon and you have a story, to click that versus scrolling through the whole feed and then hoping that maybe they see something by you. But that's kind of like you're leaving it up to the Instagram gods and the algorithm to show it to people. So keep in mind that you can schedule those stories now too, if you don't want to be having to do it live every day.
Definitely. So LinkedIn, this is our example for, you know, how to brand and sort of establish yourself in this space. So so this is also good, you know, for someone like, oh my gosh, I lost you. Pam, what's your husband's name?
Carl.
I forgot Carl's name. You know, Carl, with the retirement, you know, with the retirement home, if he's hiring, they have a really slick little banner that says hiring. If you're open to work, you know, you could put a banner on your profile picture there. I happen to be hiring in my sales arm, so I keep that posted and actually connected to a job role all the time, and that helps people you know, engage with me for that specific task. So I think that's something that obviously the other social media channels aren't going to offer, because this is more of the professional marketplace and social media marketplace. I have almost 3,000 followers, and I try to engage here often. So, you know, much like even on other social media channels, and something that we haven't discussed yet for a reason is the power of engaging with other content or other posts or other people that may be influential to helping you build success in your own business. So if Dawn, there's another person doing Disney trips somewhere else, it would probably behoove you to comment on their on their content and say, wow, this is so inspiring, and push your name attached to them if it's something that you're successful to and represent. That's an idea on LinkedIn. Similarly with things that are happening in EMS services, all over. I know that it's the outsource versus within the city is something that townships are deciding every day, and how they want to manage those relationships. Look for that content, and the people that are also going through that on LinkedIn, glean new ideas, and also use this platform to show your value, just like you might do the same in the community. But then that will also show who's supporting that, and kind of can give you leverage on the value that you're really bringing to a community, or might capture a story that you don't know that could help showcase your value. So that's something that I like to use LinkedIn for. You'll see too here that they enable a little bit of longer taglines, and this is really like search engine optimization place number one. So if you're a travel guide, you should use as many keywords as you can. If people click the bell, that's how they become a follower. After I posted that to my page here, I actually did increase followers a lot more quickly than I had been, because I think everybody was just adding me as a connection instead. And when I explained that, people started to just follow me. So that's another pretty new feature, probably like 6 or 8 months old on LinkedIn. So something to consider if this is a platform that might work for your business.
I think that idea also of reminding somebody to do something is useful on most platforms. I don't know if a lot of you watch YouTube videos, but people will say, subscribe and like this video at the end, right? Or in the middle to get you to do it. You see a lot of people on Instagram saying, tag your best friend who would love to go to Disney with you in the comments. So sometimes it can feel a little bit like you're trying to force people to do stuff, but don't think about it that way. Think about it as if you're reminding them that, hey, if you click that bell, you're going to be following me. So it doesn't have to be like you're forcing them to do something, you're just reminding them. And I think doing that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all really great idea.
And I think we're applicable. I have my cell phone number right out here for people to be able to contact me if they're interested in what I'm doing. If that's something that you're comfortable with or that makes sense for your business, go ahead and put your contact information in the forefront, so that it's there. You're removing as much friction as possible from people reaching out and engaging with you. Our last example here is of an organization. So we at Promote Local actually supports Milwaukee County's Children, Youth, and Family Services. They did not have a Facebook when we started our journey with them a year ago. So we've got them up to 793 likes and 864 followers. We leverage the Facebook page tools that help us find out if our page is healthy, and we're including the right information here. We have like a very brief introduction for them. All contact information is easy to access here. I wanted to point out to the branding and the consistency and the look and the feel of how the Milwaukee County Children, Youth, and Family Services is represented both in their Facebook page and the banner. And this has photos. People love seeing pictures of people and love watching videos of people. We're attracted to other people. It's human nature. So incorporating that to bring people in was important when we were building this page. We're actually also doing, we just launched on Monday a campaign specific for the Milwaukee County Birth to 3 program, to raise awareness of those services and the power of early intervention for children and families. And we called that campaign Early Start, Bright Future. And so you can see just the snip of it here. But, campaigns and bringing a message around like a culminating celebration event, or some type of one-time occurrence, like a big webinar you want to throw, or a class, maybe you want to do a jewelry making class, or like a craft event, depending on what your business is. You can create actual full campaigns on social media that will help spread the word, and you can almost do a brand within your smaller, a brand within a brand to launch a campaign. So we kept some brand pieces coming through, like we still have a lot of pictures of happy and healthy families incorporated into our campaign. But here we also created kind of a secondary color palette that's playful and a little bit more pastel and light for the younger children population. Incorporated some more fun like fonts, because it's not as stuffy as just being a Milwaukee County funded entity. And then we also created a tagline for them, like how I pointed out in Alana's Facebook group. Our tagline is connect, play, learn, grow. And so a lot of our content is around those 4 words and what they mean in the context of the Birth of 3 program and how it can change your life. So another way that we use like those branded like brand words tagline to inform our overall voice and our visual brand during this campaign. So feel free to follow this. We have a media toolkit that we've created for this. Might be helpful for you guys to see kind of all the components that we put together in this campaign. If you would be interested in creating a campaign that's around a special event or program or one-time occurrence, we can definitely share that with you. We also got a proclamation from the county executive of Milwaukee County, and we have a week that's dubbed Early Start Bright Future Week to raise more awareness. So I think depending on what you're doing, what your effort is, that can be a really powerful endorsement that you can bring to a campaign as well.
One thing I'll add about that tagline, key phrase, if you have 3 or 4 words and you're starting at the very beginning, say you don't know what you're going to post at all, but you've got your branding, your voice kind of set up, and you've got your little tagline. It can be as easy as on Mondays, I post about connect. On Tuesdays, I post about play. On Wednesdays, I post about learn. And on Fridays, I post about grow, or every other week, whatever that looks like for you. Having what your theme is and then breaking that down into those smaller bite-sized chunks can give you purpose on what to post every day of the week or every first Monday of the month, whatever that schedule looks like for you, how often you want to post, that kind of thing. But don't discount that. You can feel like, oh, well, I have to come up with something new every time I want to post something, but you don't really. Remember that everybody who sees your stuff hasn't seen it before. Maybe they did, but most people who follow you don't see a percentage of your posts. So it's okay to kind of not obviously just posting the same thing over and over again, but recycle those ideas and have a theme running throughout your content.
Okay, I thought so. I thought, man, we've been talking a while.
Yeah.
We should set for questions. And we even planned it that way. So we would love thoughts, feedback, questions, comments so far.
Can you talk a little bit more about Instagram stories? How to do those, and is it just a video that you make that you just change to a story? Okay.
So when you go into your app, there is the add story or create story. I think it's in a similar place of where your create post, create reel is. Okay. You can do a still photo and add fun text, links, GIFs, stickers, all that fun stuff. Michelle's looking now. So you also can, where your picture is, the little plus, that's to add to your story as well. So you can do it both ways, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so you can add all kinds of fun stuff there. If you want to take a photo live, you can. If you want to add a photo from your camera roll, you can do that as well. When you go into the sticker section of the stories, there's a really helpful button where you can add your link, and it comes right up on your story so that you can say, click here and draw a little arrow or whatever, and then the link will pop up so people can click directly to it, which is a really great feature as opposed to how we can't put links in Instagram posts, having to say,
Yeah.
go to the link in my bio, but when you put it on your story, it's right there and it's clickable.
Perfect. Thank you.
What else? Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Amanda, and then we'll get to Dawn.
If you could talk a little bit more about, you were talking about campaigns. When you were talking about campaigns or branding within your brand, are you talking about like so basically promoting, like, say you're having a sale, or you're having, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to utilize a campaign in my branding when
Yeah, and you're doing the event like parties for children, right, Amanda? Is that?
Yep.
So yeah, for you, I would say if you're running a special, you could even, do some type of awareness campaign to say like children like to party too campaign. I don't know. And,
Yeah.
and then have it culminate in somebody's actual event and use that person's event as a platform to collect a bunch of content or show what you mean and the impact that you can provide. I think that could work nicely for you.
I was almost thinking like, depending on if you have a certain age that you do a lot of parties for, you could do almost like a second birthday campaign where you're having everything themed with twos and you're talking about all the different things that people can do for their second birthday party, or and then it could encapsulate a 20% off discount or 2 free balloons, or I don't know, what I mean?
Yeah.
Something cute like that.
Yeah, that could be really fun if you were doing like double digits party, or like 8, like just any number, pick one and
Yeah.
and do a
Celebrating
whole-
your 5th anniversary, so you're celebrating your birthday parties or
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Dawn?
I'd love to get your thoughts on a little bit more about Facebook groups and how you build engagement in them. I have a couple groups and I've got like 3,500 in one and 6,000 in another, and we're having a hard time getting much engagement. I'm still doing a lot of the posting. So I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so one of the things that has worked for me is we have like a friendship application that allows people to kind of introduce themselves when they're new, which could be something that might work for you. So if I'm new, I could say, hi, my name is Alonna. I've been to Disney 3 times. My favorite park is blah, blah, blah. My favorite treat that I've had was blah, blah, blah. And then you'll get people in the comments that are like, oh, I love this ride at Magic Kingdom, and I also love the Dole Whip. So giving them that outline right away for something that they can post, so it's not they have to think about what it is that they want to post, is a good start. The other thing is, I think maybe are already doing this, but do you do like a post where you ask a question and then people comment often?
Yeah, I've definitely done different versions of that. And sometimes that works. It depends on the question. But
yep, I would say that is the tried and true thing that everybody kind of uses. But yeah, encouraging them to post certain sorts of things, or write in your introduction to your group saying, this is a place where you can ask, and then put the kinds of questions that you want people to ask, or you can share and then put the kinds of things that you want people to share right in the description of the group.
Let's say too, Dawn, Alonna leverages like almost like ambassadors or like influencers within the group as well. So it doesn't only have to be your voice. If you can provide some type of incentive for certain frequent flyers that already engage to engage more, or bring some plants in, maybe is another way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that can be really impactful. I also think, and this is different for you because this is probably more of a national spectrum of folks, but like we're all in hers is Wisconsin Girlies, right? So she also does pop-up events in different areas. She's not necessarily at all of them, but these other people are, right? So if you can also incorporate like bringing it offline sometimes and adding value that way, and then bringing it back on to get people like, oh shoot, I missed out on that, giving people the FOMO moments within the group so that they want to engage more after that is always a good concept to consider as well.
I think you could even consider doing virtual events. So like a virtual game night, or, Disney bingo or Disney trivia could be really fun.
Or bring your kids in costume and we'll do a costume party, right?
Yeah.
Like something like that could be cool.
Those are great ideas. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So we had kind of, this question up here, and I think we've all answered it in our introductions, but what are you marketing, promoting, sharing? We kind of know that, but keeping that in mind while we move forward, and going back to big picture, it is really important to have a mission and a message outlined. So we wanted to kind of reiterate that after we had just gone through all the examples. So we do help Friends of the Cottage Grove Library, who is an in-kind sponsor for this event, with their branding. We actually rebranded, gave them a logo. I mean, we started from nothing and created all of that with them, but we they're a membership they're a member-based organization. So we actually brought them all together to come up with what that mission was collaboratively, and we did a workshop on that. So if you have other players in your business, or you have a friend that could just do this kind of exercise with you, that would be good. But so their mission is to educate people about the importance of libraries. Promote Local's mission is to promote local businesses and advocate for accessibility in all areas of life. We're very prominent in the disability world. And then the Wisconsin Girlies mission is to connect individuals throughout Wisconsin. So knowing at least that much about yourself and your business is important. Even if it is product based, you've got to be bringing a feeling or an experience to people, and that's what your mission has to be about.
And if you don't have a friend, there are also tons of worksheets and things online, YouTube videos, whatever, that you can watch and listen to kind of draw those things out of you. Because I remember when I first started Heller Creative, I was like, what is my mission? I don't know what my mission is, so it can feel kind of frustrating to put that into words. Of course, you probably know in your heart what it is, but it's worth it to get it on paper for sure. Okay, and then we have your message. So your significant point or central theme. Back to the Friends of the Cottage Grove Library, they're complaining for one in Cottage Grove, right? We have a 4 there. I don't know why, but it snuck its way in. Promote Local, their message is to help business promote their business through marketing channels. So we post a lot about these sorts of things like we're talking about: tips, tricks, events, dates, what you should be posting on Instagram, how you can use Instagram stories. We make YouTube videos about those same things with blogs, or the back end of more strategic stuff and event planning, like Michelle was talking. Wisconsin Girlies, our message is to connect individuals by highlighting local businesses, like I told you before with our Wisconsin Girlies places you need to visit, and then providing them that opportunity to meet IRL in real life. So which platforms are right for you? This is a big question that I get asked a lot. And if you guys already know confidently which platforms you should be on, give me a thumbs up if you're on your camera. You guys know? Okay, good. So it always starts with your target market. If you know who they are, where they live, what they do, how they identify, how much money they make, you can do a simple Google for where are these people that are aged, which we have here. Okay, so for me, which platforms are women ages 20 to 40 using most? You could plug that into Google and it would give you the answer for Wisconsin Girlies. We've got 20 to 40 living in Wisconsin, traveling. They're spending a lot of their time right now on TikTok. I was not on board right away when I decided I was going to do Wisconsin Girlies, that TikTok was for me. But then the more I started engaging with it as a 24-year-old person, I was like, okay, I understand why these people are here and it makes sense and it feels natural. So if that for you is Facebook, great. If that for you is Instagram, beautiful. We'll show you a little bit of demographics just to back up that why we're on TikTok situation. And then here is our numbers personally from the 13,000 of our Instagram followers. So you can see that 93% of them are women. Most of them fall into that top over 50%, 34 to 18. And then the really important thing is our top cities, Milwaukee, Madison, Appleton, Chicago, which is kind of close to Wisconsin. They're just probably jealous that they're not here, and Green Bay. So if you already are on some platforms, I would encourage you to go and get into the back end and look at those analytics if you're not already, because they can inform future decisions and also explain to you maybe why things are reaching the types of people that they're reaching. They'll tell you which posts are performing the best, who's seeing them, when they're seeing them. So if you're not doing that, I would encourage you to.
Yeah, and sometimes this can just inform that maybe your message isn't quite where it should be, right? Like if you're only promoting, family trips to Disney and you have 64% single men or something,
Yes.
that something's gone wrong, right? So it can also be a place where you can find, really stop and say, okay, I do need to fine tune something that's going on here, or I haven't been intentional with trying to bring in a certain demographic and now I really should. And if I focus there, maybe I'll get more results.
Just help you recalibrate. So which platforms do you guys use?
Instagram and or even Facebook are the two that kind of go for.
Okay.
I'm using quite a few different ones, Twitter, Facebook, not so much Instagram, but I do have a question. On one of your previous slides, you had a professional dashboard, and which leads me to, do you think it's worthwhile to be verified or to be on Twitter Blue? Because I know Twitter now is charging for that. Facebook looks like they're going to start charging for that if they haven't already.
As far as the Twitter question, I would say right now, hold off. Just because there's so much drama around the Twitter verification aspect thing, I think that that's gonna shift and change. Just because I could say I'm Taco Bell and I could pay to be verified and then I could spew my mouth as Taco Bell, right? So I would say wait for that to kind of level out a little bit. In the sense of being verified or showing up as a legitimate business, I think that that applies across all platforms and is important as far as like having your website, your email, your phone number, your Google My Business listing, all of that stuff look real and professional. That means more to people when they can Google you and they can find you than having that blue check next to your Instagram.
Okay. And then another question, I was just looking up my Twitter analytics. So for the past month, I've got a little over 22,000 impressions. How do I convert impressions to people actually following me?
What is the Twitter for? What's the
It's for a website I run for satellite imagery. That's one of my hobbies, basically.
Satellite imaging. Are you sharing or pointing people a lot back to the website where they can?
Yeah, pretty much every post I have a link to my website, and sometimes I'll even put like and follow, or that just doesn't, other than my core followers, I might get one or two people adding, every couple of days.
Yeah.
But obviously I get a lot of people looking at the stuff, but how do I get them to become followers?
One of the ways that you can do that that's pretty popular is to run some sort of a contest where you say, like, in order to be entered to win X thing, a free satellite image or whatever that prize could be, you have to be following. Okay. So then if that post goes up bigger or better, then those people would follow. You could even consider putting something like that in your bio, like, follow for blah, blah, blah. Maybe you're going to reach out to them and talk to them about something or give them a free estimate or, yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay, sure,
It
right,
just
right.
depends on whatever it is that they are wanting from you. So saying, you have to be following me to get this thing that you want, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
next level incentive. Be good. I do think that especially on Twitter, it's a lot easier to find what hashtags or what like keywords are trending in whatever satellite imagery. And so that's something I may invest a little bit more time in and figuring out like how to hit those hot buttons and not only leveraging the top performing, but finding some in the middle that have maybe a more focused audience watching them and adding
Okay.
value based on those keywords, thinking more intentionally about what you're posting as they relate to those hashtags it still goes on Twitter. But the other platforms, I'm skeptical about that, but on Twitter, that does seem to still be impactful.
Yeah, Facebook, people seem to find it no problem. Twitter, you gotta hunt them down. Okay.
Mhm. What other platforms are people on, or questions maybe specific to your business or your presence online on social media? All right, Amanda, you are on mute.
Sorry, thank you. I have a question. So I utilize Instagram and then Facebook. There's a specific group. I'm in Stoughton too, so I use the community group. But and I know that it's good to post content pretty regularly to keep people interested. I guess my question is it not a good practice to post like similar, like for example, when I do like a balloon setup, I'll take a ton of pictures, but it's the same balloon setup, so the pictures are going to be similar. So it's new content, but it's the same content. Like, is that good practice to just to continuously post something every day, even if it's the same or very similar content? Should I be like mixing it up even though it's old content? I guess what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say mix it up with old content, right? Because not everybody saw what you posted in September of 2021. And if you're still really proud of that product, you can definitely keep highlighting it. Think of it more of a portfolio. When you walk in to show somebody what you could do, you're not going to only show them the last 5 parties that you've done. It's definitely fine to recycle. And if you have different angles, even better. But definitely don't discount using that old stuff. It doesn't have to be like you're doing something new every day, so you're posting your new thing. The other aspect, because you mentioned posting every day, I would say worry less about posting every single day and worry more about picking like 3 days that you can really commit to, and you can make sure that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday there's a post going out, and I'm proud of that post. So it's not that you're trying to post every day, but you're just setting a consistent schedule that people can know, hey, I know that Amanda posts on Fridays. I wonder what she posted today. I'm going to go look.
I don't know if you do this right now, Amanda, either, but the time lapse, like a time lapse of you actually blowing up all of the balloons or showing like the in progress, even because if they are the same every time, I would think like showing it in phases or doing like a quick, like a speeding up the video of getting them all blown up and assembled could be really fun. And I think that's an interesting one that could just happen every Tuesday, Balloon Tuesday, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And you could do that same thing. And then there might be another setup, you might have those components that you do build for most events, and those could live on a certain day of the week, and you could represent them a little bit differently each time. But yeah, probably once you've done that 10 times, you could recycle a lot of that content and it would still be exciting for people, I think. So
I have like thousands of pictures of my setups on my phone where I'm just like, well, I already posted a picture of that. And so Yeah, I appreciate that. Was really good feedback. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Video time lapse. That's where I get lost when I think about where I scroll when people are like starting to build thing or start the
yeah.
drawing, and I watch the whole time. So like if you're starting from the one balloon or you're smiling and then you go start the one balloon, I would watch the whole thing for sure.
And I would say right now, especially if you're going to be posting that on Instagram, just post it on TikTok too, because you might have some major success there with that type of content.
That's one platform I have not explored at all in terms of my business. I am on TikTok as a creeper. I'm on there look for recipes. I look up business stuff, but I've never posted on TikTok. So if you have more advice about TikTok, I would like to hear that too, but I don't want to hog your time either.
Yeah. Well, my email's at the end, so definitely shoot me an email and we can talk about it. But like Michelle said, that kind of ASMR or visually pleasing content has like a whole world online right now. So if you could kind of maneuver your balloon stuff into there or any kind of party thing, I think that would be a
Yeah, jewelry making, art making.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those scream that to me is
Mhm.
like, but even like packing for a trip, Dawn, like
Yeah.
all the suitcases stacking up, all the little kids getting their back, like anything in that fast pace. I think could be really impactful. And so we're about at time and we're done, but don't forget your natural home on social media does matter. So like if you invest time as an individual on a certain platform more like disproportionately than another, that's probably going to be a natural home for you online to support your business practices as well. So don't discredit that. If you love Twitter, Carl, double down and try to make that work for your business in the ways that you can. So homework before we're done. So make sure you've really actually defined your brand for your business. Find your voice, understand how that relates back to your brand. Write down your target audience. You might know what it is, but when's the last time you wrote it down and actually looked at that? Just putting it down into words is always helpful. And then find your platform and test and measure and see what works and see what doesn't, but commit to doing some of these best practices that we talked about, and then pivoting after a month's time or something. Also invest enough time and make enough content to really show if it's effective, versus trying a new thing every day or every week. For sure. And that is our contact information.
Yeah.
If you want to engage with us offline,
LinkedIn,
online,
Instagram.
but off webinar.
Thank you, ladies.
Email.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Alonna. I learned a ton from you, and I bet everybody on this call did. I'll send the recording out to everybody on this call just in case you want to rewatch it and follow along on some of the key messages. And with that, thank you everybody for attending, and I hope to see you at your Village of Cottage Grove Library programs.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Michelle and Alonna, can you stay on?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop.
We didn't see your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you
Sam just
stop
saying-
recording, please?
Oh,
To the host.